Hi, managers. Good morning. Thank you for taking the time for this video chat for our weekly What's Going On in Employment Law for Managers, which is a long title. That maybe we can think of something fun to change it to. So today's topic is medical marijuana, how it presents itself in the workplace, and what we should do if we see it or if we hear about it. So let's start with talking about the Clear workplace. So Clear has a zero tolerance, drug-free workplace. Okay, so our drug policy has zero tolerance for violations of it, meaning if you violate the policy, you're subject to discipline. And the severity of the discipline is something we can talk about further, and something that depends on the gravity of the offense, and it depends on how you have previously disciplined people, other employees, for similar infractions. Because as we talk about all the time when it comes to discrimination issues, we want to treat everyone the same so that no one can make a complaint that someone was treated better than someone else for a protected class. So with that being said, let's talk about some scenarios that you might find yourself in. I think the first that comes to mind, and probably comes to mind for you as well, is if you see or if you hear about an employee smoking marijuana in their car, in their parking lot before work, during their break. We can because we have a zero tolerance drug policy, even though they are smoking marijuana on their break, even though they are smoking marijuana before work, that still affects their ability to do their job. And that is a disciplinary offense because it's considered a violation of our drug-free policy. And that is whether they have a medical marijuana certificate or not, okay? Now, what I would recommend that you do is get that employee into a room one-on-one, or if you feel like you need a witness, you can do that as well, and speak with the employee, let them know what you heard or saw. Now, if you just heard it, it's extremely important that you let them tell their side of the story, because we want to make sure that we are basing disciplinary decisions on accurate information. Okay, so I would counsel them. They can bring up that they are subject to medical marijuana, and you let them know that it is a drug-free workplace, and that we, because of the type of positions that we have, safety sensitive positions, that regardless of whether that person has a medical marijuana certificate or not, we cannot tolerate in the workplace. And then you will impose discipline. I would recommend that you impose discipline depending on the severity of what you perceive the infraction to be, and what you have imposed discipline for similar behavior before. The second scenario is a little bit more difficult. So let's say you're at a party, a friend's party, there's no one there from work. It's not work related, it's not related to Clear or anything related to your job. All of a sudden, one of your employees shows up at this party and you see them smoking marijuana. Now, there are many states have laws that are called lawful activity laws. And what these laws state is that we cannot discipline someone at work for lawful activity that they engaged in outside of work. And it becomes a little sticky in this situation because while they're smoking marijuana, if they have a medical marijuana certificate, then that is considered a lawful activity, right? So that is not something we could discipline them for. So if you see this and it's not considered an extension of the workplace, which is what we'll get to next, I would recommend that the next time you're working with this individual, that you counsel them one-on-one, let them know what you saw or what you heard, and give them the opportunity to explain, and give them the opportunity to present the medical marijuana certificate. Now, if they have a medical marijuana certificate, I would recommend that we do not engage in disciplinary action, but I would verbally counsel them, remind them of the drug policy, and remind them of their safety sensitive position, because we don't want to commingle those two things. The third scenario would be if, let's say, everyone from your shift goes out for happy hour, or someone throws a party for someone's last day and everyone goes out for drinks, and you see someone smoking marijuana there. Now, that situation, because it's everyone from work, is considered an extension of the workplace. And as you know, discrimination laws can extend to those extension of the workplace issues. Similarly, I would argue that our drug-free workplace extends to extensions of the workplace. If you see someone, one of your employees, smoking marijuana at an extension of the workplace event, I would recommend that the next time that you work with them, that you counsel them one-on-one, and that you deal with them very similarly to the same way that you deal with the initial scenario, okay? Because I consider that to be smoking marijuana at the workplace. Even if they have a medical marijuana certificate, I would consider that to be a violation of our drug policy, and I would recommend discipline. Now, it's not the same as someone literally smoking marijuana in the middle of their shift or right before their shift. So you can change the level of discipline based on the severity of the violation of the policy. The fourth scenario is pre-employment, and that's not something that you would deal with. So essentially, if someone tested positive for marijuana during the pre-employment screening, now I would work with recruiting to go over whether there was a reasonable accommodation we could provide. If someone presented a medical certificate and requested a reasonable accommodation, I would, work with recruiting to engage in the interactive process if that is something that we could do, and whether there was a different drug test that we could administer because of this medical marijuana certificate. So if no one has any questions, that is all that I have for you today. It's been great, and it's been less than 10 minutes. So thank you for your time. Until next week.